Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. We got proof. Definitive proof. The Russian narrative. Definitely, unquestionably fake news. We've been talking about this for the better part of three or 4 days. Proof. They brought in Papadopoulos, and I love the left, because when you read all their stuff, I go over it periodically just to check them out. And it's like they've pinned their hopes on such nonsense. I find it difficult to believe, honestly. They pin their hopes on so much nonsense. And they pinned it on this guy, Papadopoulos. And as if we needed any more proof that Donald Trump has no connection at all to the Russians, we get the proof, guess what? From Obama's government. Link to the Justice Files. This is a federal government website. And you see Papadopoulos' testimony about Donald Trump and the Russians. It's right there for your eyes to see. It was done filed on October the 5th. They knew this. And it turns out Donald Trump turned down proposed meetings with the Russians. And as I was it's a 14-page document. As I was looking over the document, I kept thinking, Papadopoulos may have been trying to set up Trump. I don't know his background. I don't know how he came to be. Is he a Hillary Clinton person or whatever? I don't know. I really don't. But here's what Donald Trump tweeted. This from special counsel says Russian professor tried for months to arrange, and this wasn't from Trump. I apologize. This was from Cheryl Atkinson. She says, they tried for months to arrange a meeting between Donald Trump and the Russians during the 2016, an open invitation, but Trump not interested. No meeting. And there's nothing new in this story from what we already know. Now, you might go, well, Kevin, you say that, but we didn't have any proof. You're right. We didn't have any proof other than the man's word. Donald Trump saying, I didn't meet with the Russians. What? For what? And also, we have what Sessions went through in answering questions once or twice before Congress saying, what are you talking about? I didn't disclose I had a meeting with a Russian. Just because somebody happens to be in the same room with me doesn't mean I had a meeting with them. Did you remember how ridiculous that looked? God, it's crazy. So what's funny, I get bored with this conversation because what am I going to tell you? Donald Trump turned over all of his emails. He turned over the emails of Junior. Anything related to the matter, here you go. But George Papadopoulos, when he got, George Papadopoulos, he's singing like a canary. Well, what could he possibly say that isn't going to be refuted? Yeah, they're saying he's snared in this probe. Okay. Unlike the left who play the games of who's going to be the scapegoat this time, Donald Trump's like, if George Papadopoulos is guilty, then let him go. No problem. I'm not giving him, a pardon. I'm not bailing him out. He is what he is. Anyway, they said this. This is what Sarah Huckabee Sanders said at the time. She says that the Trump campaign deserved credit for turning over all of Papadopoulos' emails that reveal false statements to the FBI about dealings with Russia. Now, what did Papadopoulos do? He spouted off at the mouth. This is why you know he's not a high-level guy. Because let me explain to you how you get higher up in an organization. You want to know? You want to know the secret? You guys want to know? Because y'all have reached the ceiling. You're at the pinnacle. My producers are at the pinnacle. You want to know why? Because they've been vetted. They can be trusted. Even though I do know one of them stole my, what's that bar I eat? It's like a Reese's bar. One of y'all, I know. That's okay. Don't try to get out of it. But other than that, if you can't leave chocolate around, but they're trustworthy. You can say things to them. We go off air. We talk. Boy talk. Locker room chatter. They're looking at me like, what? So anyway, Papadopoulos, he's popping off at the mouth. He's Papadopoulos off at the mouth. He's like at a bar. He's drunk and he's having a conversation with an Austrian. Yeah, so I was arranging these meetings with Donald Trump because I'm such a bigwig. I do have the president's ear. He listens to me. But, I don't know what the guy said. I'm riffing here. I'm going with the flow. But that's probably something like it. Anyway, the Trump administration gave 20,000 pages of documents, turned them over to the investigative team, said, here you go. And by the way, if you need anybody else, let us know, because we will cooperate with you fully, Mr. Donald Trump. Even the anti-Trump fake news Washington Post admitted, this was back in March, that then candidate Trump rejected meetings with the Ruskies, the Russians. 3 days after Trump named his campaign foreign policy team in March of 2016, the youngest of the new advisors sent an email to 7 campaign officials with the subject line, meeting with Russian leadership, including Putin. The advisor was George Papadopoulos, who offered to set up a meeting between him and the Russian leadership to discuss U.S.-Russia ties under President Trump. He told them that Russian contacts welcomed the opportunity to meet with him. And they said the Trump campaign got concerned. It sent a ripple through the campaign about this meeting. And he says the campaign co-chair, Sam Clovis, wrote that he thought NATO allies should be consulted before any plans were made. Another Trump advisor, retired Navy Rear Admiral Charles Kubik, cited legal concerns, including a possible violation of U.S. sanctions against Russia and of the Logan Act, which prohibits U.S. citizens from unauthorized negotiations with foreign governments. But Papadopoulos, a campaign volunteer with scant foreign policy experience, persisted, and between March and September, the self-described energy consultant sent at least a half dozen requests for Trump as he turned from the primary to the actual candidate for the Republicans, or for members of his team to meet with the Russian officials. He was pretty much, if they could just get an audience with you, that's all they need. So you can almost see this is symbolic. It isn't that they're planning on accomplishing a whole lot, because Donald Trump hasn't had time to, at this point, investigate what we need to do with Russia. So it made me question, what exactly was this guy? Is he like some mole in the campaign? Could be. Had no experience in foreign policy, but he's running the foreign policy of the government at this point. So it looks like it could be a setup, but Donald Trump didn't bite. Actually, the Trump campaign and White House cooperated fully with these investigations. And we discovered exactly what we knew back in March when WAPO published their article. There's no collusion with the Russians that occurred with the Trump team. But what I find most hysterical is the left believes that Papadopoulos' testimony is going to end Donald Trump's presidency. So here's some of their propaganda. They said this: if Trump can't convince the public that Papadopoulos was a nobody, they'd at least like people to believe that his repeated efforts to set up a meeting between the campaign and the Russian government were rebuffed by senior Trump officials. For example, an attorney for Sam Clovis, the campaign's national co-chair, suggested he was just being polite when he encouraged Papadopoulos to meet with Russian officials, and that was actually trying to brush him off. So they're saying it's an excuse. Then they say, but an email from Papadopoulos included in the court filings made public on Monday suggests someone in the Trump camp may have actually okayed a meeting between campaign officials and the Russian government. So they said, per Bloomberg, writing to a Russian contact a week before the Republican National Convention, Papadopoulos proposed a meeting for August or September in the UK that would include, quote, my national chairman and maybe one other foreign policy advisor and members of Putin's office and the Russian foreign ministry. It's been approved by our side, Papadopoulos wrote. Well, now we get the truth. In Papadopoulos' own documents, he says the Trumps nor anybody in the administration ever gave me any indication they wanted to meet with the Russians. Nobody did. It's 14 pages of sworn testimony that the left have hung over the head of Donald Trump like it's an anvil waiting to fall on him, and it's a feather. And they made it sound like it's such a big deal. So here's my point. Every time they talk, they say, we've had these indictments. We've got Flynn, we've got Manafort, we've got Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos, a zero. Manafort, more closely tied to the Podestas, and we'll get to that here in a bit, than he is to the Trumps, even though he was a Trump's campaign manager for a minute. And we've got Flynn, who they got information on him through illegal wiretapping and FISA stuff that's now pointing back to Obama. They got nothing, folks. Welcome 2018, the year that the Democrats sink their ship and America is going to toast their demise with a shot of Stolichnaya vodka. We'll be back in just a bit. Keep it here.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.